This week we're going to start out with talking about professionalism. Now you need to remember that this is a health career. Okay, you are going to be dealing with medical people, medical patients. So you are expected to be reliable. If you miss at work or you miss at clinical, it's your patients and your coworkers that have to suffer. Students are expected to be warm and accepting of others, and expected to be concerned about the emotional and physical needs of others. We are a caring profession. That's why you hopefully are going into this profession. You're also expected to use feedback constructively and to look at personal feelings, values, and behaviors. We are going to be teaching you things. We are going to be adjusting things for you. So you need to make sure that you understand the feedback that we are giving you is constructive feedback. You may not think it is. Just remember that we are trying to shape you into a healthcare professional. And of course, students are expected to be ethical. We talked about the code of ethics last week. You want to make sure that you are being ethical in all of your endeavors. There are examples of professionalism listed in your syllabus each semester. So they are the same each semester. I recommend you take a moment and look at them. They are actually in your syllabus for this semester. Now let's get into talking about the admission criteria. At this point, there should be a link in the news section of your D2L class. That link will take you to the application for the respiratory therapist clinical program. Keep in mind that you must submit your application by the deadline that is listed. We are a selective admission program, meaning just because you're in HAC doesn't mean you automatically get into the clinical phase of the program. We can accept up to 25 students. That's how many we can accommodate in clinical. And we use a point system. Now, we are one of the few programs that actually have a minimum points. I don't always get 25 students. I don't know how many students are going to apply. I don't know how many points people are going to have. But we do know that you have to meet the minimum point requirement in order to be successful in the program. We're not trying to get you into the program to take your money and have you be unsuccessful. We want you to succeed. We want you to graduate. We want you to be a respiratory therapist. The application, which is open now, officially opens on the website September the 10th. So if you go to the HAC website, the respiratory page, on September 10th, the application will appear there. But because you are currently taking Respiratory 100, you get to access the application early. Applications close November 31st. And our final class decision is around December 20th, 21st, in that range. The reason for that is we accept fall grades. So we have to wait until the grades are rolled so that we can finalize the points for some students. Now, when we talk about the point system, students will be considered for admission into the program who have met the following. You must have a 2.5 program GPA. So if you go into your DegreeWorks and you run a what if for the Associate of Science in Respiratory Therapy, as you scroll down at the top, it will tell you what your program GPA is. This is different than your overall GPA. Program GPAs only look at the courses that are required for the degree. Your overall GPA looks at all courses you've taken at HEC. You have to have at least a C or better in math through the 090 level, which you had to have in order to get into this class in the first place. You must have completed English 101 and Biology 111 with a grade of C or better. Some students may have taken Biology 121. That's perfectly fine. You have to have completed Respiratory 100 with a grade of C or better within 24 months of starting the clinical component of the program. And you had to have met with me. So you should be meeting with me prior to your application, just so that if there's any questions or problems that come up, we can deal with them now. All the ones that you see that had the little plus about the courses means that the courses have to be completed before December 20th. Now, this is the point system. It's a little hard to read, but you will get points based upon your grades that you have earned. I know it says 2025 at the top. It's the same for the starting spring of 2026. We just didn't change the date. So if you take Bio 111 and you get a C, you get 5 points. If you get a B, you get 10 points. If you get an A, you have 15 points. If you completed Bio 121 with a C or higher, you automatically get 15 points there. Respiratory 100 uses the same scale, and English 101 uses the same scale. If you have transferred in bios, English, math, or comm, you will get points based upon the actual grade that you have earned at that institution. So I will look at your transcript, and if you got a B in English 101, then you would receive 10 points. Not all programs do that. So the 3 at the beginning are the biggest indicators of success in the program. Next, we look at the English 102, Comm 101, your math elective, and your math or science elective. Those are worth 5 points for an A, 3 points for a B, 1 point for a C. If you've completed your humanities and arts elective and your social behavioral science elective, you get 1 point for each of those. If you have no D's or F's on your record, excluding developmental courses, we will automatically give you 8 points. If you have a D in any class or an F in any class on your transcript, you do not get those 8 points. You lose 2 points for any D, W, or F in your bio, English, comm, nursing, respiratory, or other allied health program core course within the past 7 years. The same applies if you have transferred in. So if you transferred in Bio 111, but you had a D previously in your Bio 111 from whatever school you took it at, those points will come off as well. We do not count developmental math, or English. You will lose 5 points for any D, W, or F in Respiratory 100 within the past 7 years. If you come to us with a bachelor's degree or higher, you get 15 points. So you have to have a minimum of 20 points. Now, if you look at that, it says total score of 90 max. I didn't create this form, but if you did the math, it's 85. Okay? So the maximum points you can earn is 85. Now, I do one of these on every single student who applies. And at the end, before we choose our class, I put them in order, highest to lowest. I count down to number 25. That's the line. Anything 26 and below, you would receive a non-admittance letter. Note, we do not use GPA. The only time a GPA is used is if there is a tie for spot number 25. So if I have 2 or 3 students who have the exact same number of points for spot number 25, then I will look at the program GPA, and the person with the higher program GPA would get in. So once you get your letter of admission from us, you need to note that this is a conditional admission. That means there's other things that you have to do. You have to meet some other requirements. And we're going to talk about those in the subsequent videos. First of all, there is a mandatory orientation. So you will attend the orientation. Failure to attend orientation forfeits your spot in the program. When you apply, the date and time of the orientation will be listed. During this orientation, you will be purchasing Castle Branch Access, and it has to be the RT Castle Branch. If you were in another program and you had Castle Branch in that program, you have to repurchase it because it will not transfer from one program into another. You may also need to purchase an additional program in the future. However, that depends on your clinical site. And that would be $47 or $48, I believe. When you come to orientation, we recommend that you have a credit card with $300 available on it. Castle Branch does not accept American Express. So you need to have a Visa or MasterCard with about $300 available. That is so you can get your Castle Branch, you can order your AARC membership. This is going to pay for your drug and alcohol screens, your background checks, which we're all going to talk about all of those here shortly, including your physical. Once you start to use the money off of that card, you want to immediately start to replace it, because you never know when you're going to walk in someday and we're going to say, oh, everybody has to go for a drug screen today. And I get people who cry to me and they say, well, I don't have the money. There's no way for me to know if you don't have the money or you're afraid that it's hot. So about $300 available to you on a Visa or MasterCard.